What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are concluding the $700 gaming PC build. First, we went out and found some parts in one video. Secondly, we did a live stream to put everything all together. And today we're going to see just how well this gaming PC performs. Let's go. So with this build, we have three main focuses. We're going to make sure that we hit our $700 budget, we make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible, which I think we did pretty well on, and most importantly, get the most price to performance as possible. This was also actually a birthday gift for a client of mine, so we had to make sure we did everything right and to the T, so that way we have a happy camper for his birthday. So let's get right into the parts here and start off with the motherboard. We've got the Gigabyte DS3H B660 Wi-Fi. This motherboard basically accomplishes all that I was looking for. It supports the 12th gen lineup. It's not an extremely cheap board where sacrifices would be made, and has some great features, most importantly Wi-Fi. Some additional features though are extra system fan headers and RGB headers, cooling components over the VRM, 4 DIMM slots, and 2 M.2 NVMe drive slots. I'd say for a micro ATX board, this thing is seriously packing some serious features, all that I got for just $119 on Amazon. So next up for CPU, if you couldn't imagine me getting to this one next, we have the Intel i3-12100F. The main reason I chose this CPU simply was due to the price and with the intent to deliver a more modern mainstream build. But with the price point of the i3-12100F these days, it has now become the GOAT of budget CPUs, and just at $100. And sometimes even less. However, this CPU packs such a price to performance bang for the buck that Ryzen basically can't even compete with it. With 4 cores and 8 threads that turbo up to 4.3 gigahertz, this is definitely the GOAT of budget gaming PC CPUs, not like anything of the previous i3 generations that we remember. So next up for RAM, I simply was just after a part that looked good, had some RGB flare, which we do have here, and obviously would perform well for this build. So what we have here is a 16 gig kit of T-Force Delta RGB RAM clocked at 3200 megahertz CAS latency 16. T-Force, or Team Group, is a leading brand name in the memory and storage department, so I had no worries going with them for this part. I'd say it did the job pretty well accommodating this build's overall look. But speaking of Team Group, we've got another part by them, and it's underneath that NVMe drive heatsink, and we've got a 512 gigabyte drive for just $35. Guys, you might honestly see me recommending or using this part for quite some time. The price per gigabyte and the performance being of NVMe, this drive simply cannot turn me away. That being said, I'll keep recommending this part so long as it remains at its current price point. Alrighty, and always the hot topic item of PC builds, that being the GPU. We did a little bit of digging on this one just to get the best price to performance as possible and to obviously give us the best aesthetic as possible in this build. But what we got here is a gem of a find on eBay for $175, the RX 6600 by MSI. This is of the most modern lineup of cards from AMD to date and falls about in the lower mid-tier lineup. However, that does not at all mean this card lacks in any way, shape, or form. This thing rips, and you will see it in the benchmarks. But aside from that, this card I really can get behind. The RX 6600 has squeezed itself into this perfect niche of modern hardware that delivers on a budget. Even though I paid just $175 for this card to trim some fat on the budget, a completely brand new one can be found for about $225 on Amazon or other online marketplaces. So where there comes gaming PC, there comes need for power. However, not a ton of power is needed for this mid-tier style build, yet I got a smoking hot deal on a power supply that I want to share with you. So what we have here is something I try to recommend all the time to my audience, and that is of EVGA B-Stock. Specifically for this power supply, what we have here is a 750 watt, 80 plus gold, fully modular B-tier power supply, but that isn't the coolest aspect of this part. I managed to get it for just $50. So if you guys are not familiar with EVGA B-Stock, you've got to check it out because it is a great way to save some money and get some amazing red hot deals like I did here for this power supply. So last up, and certainly not least, we have the case, which is by Rosewell, the Spectra C101 Micro ATX Tower. Clearly we got some RGB things going on, which was what we were after. That's why we saved some money in some other areas so that we have more of a complete ecosystem of good aesthetics for this build. But to hit on some of the high notes with this case, it's a pretty feature-packed, well-built case. It's got 3 addressable RGB fans, a hinged tempered glass side panel, which is really neat, that is also magnetically attached and easily removable with just a handle. It was also quite easy to build in, no major issues with cable management, plenty of room for additional drives, etc. And with the front mesh drawing in cool air, this smaller form factor case will be able to handle some hot components as well. However, the case did come with a drawback, which I'd like to see maybe Rosewell put some money into or fix, because this case did come in at about $78. So not the cheapest of cases, and I'd expect something to be changed about it. But basically we cannot sync up any other fans. The CPU cooler that I wanted to use being of a Cooler Master cooler and it being RGB, as you can see, I was not able to plug into any controller here that the case comes with because it really doesn't come with any options of that. So I thought maybe I could daisy chain a cable. That didn't end up working. So what I ended up having to do is just go and plug a RGB cable, the cable that the CPU cooler comes with, into the motherboard, so that way I can get some control of RGB again. So yes, the lights do not technically sync with everything else, but we've got some RGB control through RGB Fusion. So guys, that covers the build in total. We hit our $700 budget, and you can verify that by checking the description and putting this same build together. You can do that right now, today, but I know what you guys are after. Let's check out just how well this PC performs. What a banger of a gaming PC, guys. Need I say more? I don't think so. It looks really awesome and it performs even better. But if you guys so happen to miss the parts hunt build and the stream where we put this one together, then make sure you check out these videos right here so that way you can get the full encompassing story of this PC build. Thanks for tuning into this one though. I appreciate your time and I'll catch you in the next one.